Here are a couple of stair building projects I sincerely believe most people can build. So let's go ahead and start with our first one that should help people who don't know a lot about construction create a simple set of stairs out of a few pieces of lumber. Now these are actually 8 by 12 beams. They are 7.5 inches by 11.5 inches. And of course they can be used just like this to create a set of stairs. Now I actually drew a little squiggly line here and one over here, and this represents some type of sealant or caulking. And the reason for this is to prevent the stairs from moving. So you're going to kind of put it wherever you're going to be attaching one piece of lumber to the floor, to the concrete, to the wood framing, to a deck, and also to the sides where you will be connecting the lumber pieces together. So this one here you would simply slide, have some on the front. I didn't draw it here, but you would have some here and here, and then simply slide this one into place. So this one here would be sitting on top of the sealant or adhesive that you placed on top of the concrete here, and then this would be over here. And that's just simply to add a little extra strength, a little more insurance, because you don't want the stairs moving. And I've actually seen stairs built like this where they move, which brings us to another problem with this particular method of construction, and that would be if the lumber warps, if it twists, bows, cups, or deforms in any way over a period of time, then it could actually rock back and forth. So you could actually step on this part of the stairway, and this over here will raise up, and of course that isn't going to be good for you walking up and down the stairs. And of course you could always, with this method, you could always take it apart. If it loosens up, then that means the adhesive isn't working. If this raises up, you could always slide some sealant or some shims underneath it, some strips of wood to prevent it from moving. So again, that's probably going to be your biggest problem, any type of movement with this type of stairway. Put the next piece on, and then you could always connect it together with some straps. And you can see here where these two boards are connected together, and then these boards here are connected together. And on the other side, you can simply use one strap if you want to connect all three of them together. The choice is yours. So this is how you can build a 2-step stairway. Next up, let's take a look at how you could build a 3-step stairway, and it's going to be the same principles, the same construction methods. You're just going to be adding a few more pieces in the back here. So again, we have our blocks and our adhesive, and of course our first step, hole in the middle there. Our second step, not too difficult, hole in the middle there, and then our third step, and we are done. So same thing basically, except this time I went ahead and added some screws. I wouldn't recommend using nails in case you have to take it apart, which is another advantage to this type of stairway, is if you might need to move it, you might need to make some repairs to it. Like I said, if one of the pieces starts to warp or twist and create problems, you could always get a sander out or a planer and shave one side of the step down a little bit to make it a little flatter. And of course you can always put it back together again using a little more adhesive. So here we just angled some screws in. We've connected. You've got to connect each section together. So we got this one connected to this one, and then this one here is connected to this one. I used 1 screw. You can use 2 screws. You can use 3 screws, whatever you want. These are just general ideas. And again, we can see where everything is connected together here. So that is it for the 3-step stairway. And for those of you looking for a material list, a stairway like this could be 3 feet wide. If it is, then you would need 1, 2, 3 pieces. That would be 9 feet. And then you could cut these blocks here at 1 foot. Let's see if I can go back here. The original one that I drew with the 2 steps could be cut out of an 8-foot board. It had 2 3-footers and then 2 1-footers, which would be 8 feet. This one here, you would need 3-footers. That'd be 9 feet. And then if you bought a 12-foot 6x12, you could always cut these into equal size blocks for what you need. So anything here, I would imagine that's at least 6 inches wide is probably going to be fine. But I'll leave that up to you. You want to make the stairway a little wider. If you want it to be 4 foot, Then this would be 3 4-foot pieces. That would be 12 feet. And then your blocks here. And another thing I'd like to point out is for those of you who have cars, you don't have a truck or something like that to haul a large beam in, or you don't have the tools to cut these boards, you could always contact the lumber yard and see if they will cut the pieces for you. I've never met a lumber yard that they might charge you a few more dollars, but at least you'll be able to cut the pieces you need, put them in your car, and then drive home instead of, strapping something on top of your car or trying to have it stick out one of the windows or something like that and create a safety hazard. And next up, let's take a look at another stairway you can probably build. In this video, I will provide you with the lumber sizes for this type of stairway that I think is going to be one of the easiest stairways you can assemble with a small porch. And something like this might work great for a set of stairs where you have a door that opens out instead of in, where the building codes require a landing. And in my opinion anyway, a stairway like this is safer for somebody who's going to be opening and closing a door. However, you would need to check with your local building codes to verify whether or not the stairway will work in your area. Now, the thing I like about this stairway is that I think it will work great almost anywhere, including areas where it snows and you're dealing with frost line footings. So for example, if you have a 5-foot frost line in the ground and all of your footings need to go below 5 feet and will require a lot of extra work, then a stairway like this that simply sits on top of the ground might be cheaper to build. However, it might not be approved by your local building department. Again, you would need to check with them because this isn't going to be considered a permanent set of stairs because you're going to be able to move it. Where if a stairway like this had footings, then it's going to be considered permanent and part of the property. And of course, you could rotate this stairway in this direction or in this direction. And since you're going to be able to move this stairway, you can always have it in this direction in the winter and this direction in the summer if that works better for you. So let's go ahead and focus on the stairway, take another look at it here, give you an idea of what it's going to look like when it's done. And I don't imagine this thing is going to weigh very much either. And the thing I like about it is that if the bottom board rots because it's going to be in contact with the ground, then it can easily be replaced if you use screws or some of the building hardware that I'm going to show you here in a few seconds. So let's go ahead and take the stairway apart. All of these components are going to be the same, and you can always change it. You don't have to go with the ones I have here. However, the side pieces might not be able to change. And since most building codes require a 3-foot minimum stairway, this is what we will be using on this particular project. So your 2x4s and your 2x6s for the decking and the stair treads will all be 36 inches or 3 foot. So here we're using a 2x6, 2x6, and a 2x4, and then back here we're going to be using 2x4s. Now let's go ahead and take a look at these side pieces and give you the measurements of what they're going to be. And keep in mind that this is a computer generated model, and because I have never built this, then these measurements could actually be off a little bit. And if they are, please let me know through an email or by leaving a comment in the comment area so that I can make the necessary adjustments. So here we have 5 foot 11.5 inches for those of you who might not be able to see that. And up here we have 5 foot and a half inches or 60.5 inches. And then 4 foot 1.5 or 49.5 inches, and 3 foot 2.5 inches or 38.5 inches. And that will give you your side pieces. Now let's go ahead and put everything together. We're going to start with the bottom section first. And even though I'm showing you that we're using 16D nails, you can use screws also. And I would imagine a 2 3/4 inch or a 3-inch screw would be fine. And since it's going to be outside, make sure that it's at least galvanized or stainless steel coated. And then we can go ahead and assemble the second section. And you can always assemble these sections and then set them on top, or attach this board and then this one here, and then maybe these 3 here. Again, whatever is going to be easier for you to do. Now, you can always attach the upper section to the lower section by angling some screws or nails. And of course, this one here is just to give you an idea of how the screw is angled. Or you can use some type of building hardware like this strap. And if you use screws instead of nails, then you're going to be able to take this apart a lot easier. So if this board needs to be replaced because it rots over a period of time, and you've used screws, it's going to be easy to replace it. Now, for some of you, you're probably thinking, hey, why not use treated lumber? That's fine. And I say go for it if you live in an area where you might have a lot of moisture in the ground for long periods of time. For example, maybe more than 3 months out of the year. And then go ahead and attach the next section. And here we have straps on the outside. And if you connect everything together with straps and you don't attach it any other way, then you're going to be able to take this apart in sections a lot easier. And for some of you, you're probably wondering, well, how am I going to clean this area underneath it? And I don't think that's going to be that difficult because you can just take the stairway and flip it over on its side, clean the area, and then reposition the stairway. Next up, let's go ahead and put the last section on. And of course, that can be attached with the building hardware or the screws. And of course, the building hardware can be attached to the outside or to the inside if you want it to look a little better. And again, I don't think this is going to be a big deal. For example, whether or not the straps are going to be located on the outside or the inside, because you're going to be able to just simply flip the stairway over, start pulling some of these pieces apart if you're using screws, and replace any of the damaged components. So that is it for this particular stairway, and I hope that I provided you with enough information to build it. And feel free to leave any comments or questions or suggestions on how to improve this stairway in the comment area. And don't forget to hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed the video. And thanks for watching. To learn more about home building and repairs, visit us at our website. Also, don't forget to subscribe for more awesome content. See you next time.